Apologies if you see sweat. It is currently like 100 degrees where I live and I'm sweating out my mind. Now, if you catched my last video, then you know that there was an embargo that Capcom had over certain outlets. And basically during Summer Games Fest, when we did get the Code Veronica trailer, there was also some first impressions that were gonna go live and also some details from the producer and I think the director. Now, I was right about that, and there was actually some information that dropped today, Wednesday. I think it is June 9th, today June 10th. And today we are going to talk about some of those details. Now, if you guys do go on to enjoy today's video, please drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new, and subscribe for the best source of Resident Evil Code Veronica remake news, Requiem news, because there is some stuff that we're going to be talking about on that. And now let's get into today's video. We finally have a lot more information about the Resident Evil Veronica remake. Multiple outlets including IGN, VGC, and Eurogamer had a chance to speak with producer Yoshiaki Hirabayashi about the game. While the interviews covered a lot of the same topics, they gave us a much clearer idea of what Capcom is trying to do with this remake. And based on what we've learned so far, it sounds like Capcom is treating Veronica as a much bigger deal than fans expected. So let's go over some of these big details. Let's start with the news that will make a lot of people happy. Capcom has officially confirmed that Resident Evil Veronica is a third-person game. After the reveal trailer, there was a lot of confusion because most of the footage that was shown was through Claire's eyes. Some fans thought Capcom might be moving towards a first-person perspective, similar to Resident Evil 7, Village, or even Requiem, but that's not the case. According to Hirabayashi, the game is being designed as a third-person experience, much like the Resident Evil 2 and 4 remake. The first-person camera shown in the trailer was apparently used to build suspense and hide certain details from fans. So if you are worried about Veronica abandoning the over-the-shoulder camera style, you can put those fears to rest. Another huge piece of news is that the team behind Resident Evil 2 and 4 remake are the ones developing Veronica. That should immediately give fans some confidence because those two remakes are genuinely considered some of Capcom's best work. The developers explained that after revisiting Leon's story through Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4, they felt it was finally time to return to Claire Redfield and continue her story. That alone is exciting because Claire hasn't nearly had as much attention as some of the other major Resident Evil characters in recent years. One of the questions a lot of fans had after the announcement was why Capcom dropped the word code from the title. Well, according to developers, there was actually a reason behind that decision. Hirabayashi explained that Capcom views Veronica as being just as important as any numbered Resident Evil game. Even though the original wasn't called Resident Evil 4, many fans have always considered Code Veronica the true continuation of Resident Evil 2's story. Resident Evil 4 Remake jumps the timeline a few years, with Leon much older and much more experienced. And Resident Evil Code Veronica is set a few months after Resident Evil 2, bringing Claire to Paris in search of her brother. And Capcom seems to agree with that idea of this game being the true sequel to Resident Evil 2. By shortening the title to simply Resident Evil Veronica, they're trying to emphasize that this is a major chapter in the franchise and not just some side story or spin-off. Expecting big story changes. One of the most interesting things discussed in these interviews is that Capcom isn't planning a simple one-to-one remake. These developers made it clear that they want to stay faithful to the original game, but they're also looking for opportunities to modernize and improve the story. Apparently, there have been a lot of discussions internally what should remain untouched and what should be expanded or changed. If that sounds familiar, it is because Capcom took a similar approach with Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 4 Remake. The difference is Veronica already had one of the most craziest and most ambitious stories in the entire franchise, so it'll be very interesting to see how far they are willing to go with these changes. Now, the biggest change I think that a lot of people might miss is that Claire Redfield is going to be a major focus this time around, and obviously it is her game, but things are changing. One thing that really stood out from these interviews is how much emphasis Capcom is placing on Claire Redfield. The developers talked about wanting to explore Claire's character in ways they weren't able to in the original game. Remember, Veronica takes place shortly after the destruction of Raccoon City. Claire already survived one of the worst outbreaks in Resident Evil history, and Capcom wants us to show how the experiences have changed her. Instead of simply recreating the original version of Claire, they're looking ways at making her more realistic, more experienced and more emotionally complex. What this means for the future. The overall impression from these interviews is that Capcom isn't treating Veronica like a similar project. In fact, they're giving it the full remake treatment, expanding the story, modernizing the gameplay, and putting a major focus on character development. The fact that they're willing to make significant changes also suggests that they're going to make Veronica fit more naturally with the Resident Evil timeline. That could potentially mean new lore, expanded story elements, and even more connections to future Resident Evil games. Now, with everything that I said in this video, what excites you guys the most? Now, with Capcom finally giving Claire more love and attention in this franchise, I think this is going to really expand her character in ways that we've never seen. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys definitely did enjoy. Let me know what you guys thought about this video. Leave a comment. Leave your thoughts, let me know down below, and also leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new, and I appreciate you guys for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.